Hello, people. It is December 19th, and at 8 a.m. today, Pacific Standard Time, we entered into the archetype of Vishnu for our lovely Gate 10, which is the gate of the behavior of the self. Dash treading. I'm going to be talking about Vishnu. Vishnu is the Hindu god or deity that is the preserver, and he is one of three main divine forces in Hinduism. We have Brahma that expelled the word Om, or the sound Om, and created the universe through this vibration and this ripple effect. And we have Shiva, that is the sustainer of life force. He is considered the multi-universe. So whenever he inhales, all life is extracted. And when he exhales, all galaxies are created. And he is actually known to have 9 lives, and we are on 8, so who knows what that'll bring. But I don't have an apocalypse Schecter for no reason, you know what I mean? We have Shiva, which is the destroyer, and Shiva destroys in order to recreate the universe, so he is actually a huge ally in transforming what needs to go in the universe. And I listened to something the other day that was very potent. Most of these beings, but Vishnu is blue, and he is blue just like the ocean water is blue, or the lake water is blue, because water itself is transparent and you can see through it entirely. But when it's in a great mass, it contains great depth, and Vishnu is known to contain great vast depth. There is also another story where Vishnu was eating mud, and he was a little baby Vishnu, and he got caught red-handed or mud-mouthed, whatever you want to call it. But as soon as his mother being opened his mouth, or it was either mother or it was the woman that looked after him, his caretaker, looked into his mouth and saw galaxies beyond galaxies, and then saw specifically herself in India, in that specific place, looking at herself, looking into Vishnu's mouth, and she became dizzy, because it was so much to contain for her own mind to comprehend. So Vishnu is great depth, it's vast knowing. He also, in a lot of stories I've heard, brings about a lot of joy. He's known to lounge, and he's a very watery being. He's on a serpent, which is on water, and he's lounging because it's this rested state. It's the authenticity that brings about a lot of joy and a lot of strength and foundation. So if one knows themselves so well, there's nothing to fear. There's all tools that you have to, be capable of encountering anything in life. And I actually have Lakshmi here. I love Lakshmi, which is Vishnu's bride, one of his brides, and she is all resourcefulness. So brings about wealth, material wealth. Yeah, Lakshmi is a great resource to call upon as well when you need some finance, intuition, but we'll talk about that at another time. But yeah, Vishnu's lounging in his great depth. He's lounging because he's comfortable with his authenticity. He loves himself. It is behavior that is attuned to self-mastery and self-knowing, which is why I'm here, actually. I'm meant to teach the Know Thyself prophecy, which is just guiding you along the path to really building that foundation. And I'm only just like a small, part of your tools, or big, depending on how you view human design through this lens. But the more tools you have in your arsenal, the more experiences you have taken on. That is your experience that builds authenticity to where you almost have this like gleeful skip, this like joy that comes from no fear and no self-fallacy. So just as there's 3 Trimurti, which is the 3 divine Hindu beings, there's also 3 channels that Gate 10 hooks up to. It is part of your G center, which is basically like the polarizing magnet that brings the top of your energy portals and the bottom of your energy portals together. So it is what we call the magnetic monopole. So it is your resource of identity. So it is very much what you know about yourself and how you behave through that identity. And all of us have a different personality and design, and we speak through that. So one is conscious and one is unconscious, and there are 6 lines of different types of personality and design. And the first one is an investigator, the second is a hermit, the third is a martyr, the fourth is an opportunist, the fifth is a heretic, and the 6th is a role model. So you speak through whatever your personality and design is. And especially in this week, Gate 10 is going to maybe instill this profound joy to be yourself, this ability to really feel at home in your body as who you are, and maybe brings about more expression and more just spontaneous being. And I got a little sidetracked, but it has 3 different channels that it hooks up to the Gate 10, which is in your G center. And you can hook up to your intuition, your spleen, and that is Gate 57. And that is how you behave through your intuition. If it hooks up to your throat, which is Gate 20, it is the manifestation of your voice. So how you, I always say words are magic. So whatever you say comes into manifestation. So if you have 1020, that's what you're profoundly doing, is expressing, and the more you express your voice, that is your identity. And Gate 34. Gate 34 is in your sacral, and that is like the biggest fuel house that we have in our design. And 34 is the fuel of action, so you're behaving through action or an exalted state. So, yeah, it's a very mystical channel, or a mystical gate, but specifically what we have going on in our weather this week is on the 23rd, we do hook up to the 20. So 1020 is the channel of awakening, and it is a design of higher principles. So gate 20 is the gate of the now, and gate 10 is the behavior of the self. So therefore, it is all about expressing. And whenever 1020 shows up, if they are criticized by what they're expressing, they typically take it really hard because it seems like you're taking an attack on their identity. But 1020 is a great resource. They're really, really inspiring people. And because there's the higher principles aspect, you will see people that really love themselves in order to like provide self-healing or be in an environment that promotes their ultimate health, or their ultimate creativity. It is definitely almost like the Taurus to me, where it's like you like your nice things and they ground you and make you feel safe to be who you are. And yeah, I think that we have a lot of potential to be able to move with this energy this week, to really find that self-love, to really understand what is transforming, what is your higher principle coming through this transformation. So, I know I used to have very poor, weak standards, and that created a lot of chaos in my life. And now, knowing what a higher principle looks like to me, I tend to stick to that, because it keeps me whole, it keeps me in form, whereas separation can be what most people will say, like a lowly energy. You don't really know what to grab onto, you don't really know what sustains itself or preserves itself. So therefore, you're latching onto things outside of yourself to find clarity or intuition or safety. And if you don't know how to do that for yourself, you may be in a lot of danger. It's depending on, really where you are in life, how dangerous that can get. So being able to have principles that you stick to really keep you moving in life, really keep you ascending towards success, or finishing what you've started and giving yourself that goal and that looming beautiful star in the sky that you want to reach. Pretty sure that's a good gist. Vishnu is also a great storyteller. So the downside or the shadow to this gate 10 is that because they're so focused on behavior, they may want to be controlling or to make it their existence to make sure you are behaving correctly, or they want to be really the inspiring force. So it can get conceited sometimes. If it's not hooked up to another gate, it can act that way where it's speaking out of the lack of awareness. So you don't know what everyone else is going through. You don't know what necessarily to suggest. Just really, the tens should just be and express themselves, especially if it's a solitary gate and not hooked up to a channel. So yeah, there is potential to want others to stick to a principle that is uncomfortable. Some of us grow from those types of mentorships because all of us, look for different types of coaching. Some of us are very sensitive to the strictness of teaching and education. And some of us absolutely need it. They need that fire. They need that, guilt motivation to really stick to their projects and their continuation. And some of us just need ease through this process, which may be harder for the tens to do. But Vishnu, going back, is very, very great at providing this like lightheartedness, and he comes down in different manifestations, and as a fish or a turtle, and he comes down to human beings because he loves them, and will teach them a very potent lesson with ease, and gives them a different and higher perspective of the situation that is around them. So I definitely wish to do the same, because that is a great thing to achieve, is that language where you're speaking to a person's soul and you recognize where they're at with ease, rather than just coming at them with fire. And I think that we all can work towards that. And I will give you the questions of the week here. It's going to be similar to what we've already covered. So what shall you discover about yourself that is so natural you won't even notice it at first? Once the 6 days have passed, you can revisit this question, because you may, like I said, not notice what vibration you're tuning into, and you may be creating or expressing something that is unordinary, typically, especially if you do not have this gate in your definition. How has the action of transforming formed a higher principle that you stick to now? Does it bring more love to those dealing with those stuck moments or frustration? And what is your method of influence? So you'll be highly influential this week, most likely. And everyone in human design has a motivation, and some of us motivate through guilt. Some of us motivate through hope. So hoping that somebody is going to get there. Some of us motivate through desire, making something desirable. Some of us motivate with innocence, just kind of being the loving, innocent being in the circle that doesn't think about the negatives of a situation. Some of us motivate with fear. So fearing somebody into something that they should be doing, or what they should not do. And then on the flip side, it is need. So whatever you need, it motivates, or whatever the tribe needs, it motivates. So you'll be most likely influencing people through that and motivating them through that. And last question, what great depth have you found within yourself? The real philosopher's stone that dwells within you, and an ode to mastery. So, mastery is repeating something over and over again, and it also includes many different fragments of, what you've learned, what you've experienced, and the mineral content of that makes a great whole. So, that is like the true, end of Indiana Jones, where like it's not an actual ruby, it's like whatever is within you that is real and sustainable, that really brings you to whatever mastery that you have. And the more you practice, the better it'll get, the more refined it'll get throughout the years. Trust me, it will. And I wish you all the best. If you need any guidance or would like to know more about motivation or any part of your personality or design, what character, what archetype are you? I find that it is so nurturing to hear what you are. Heretic investigator over here doing the thing. So ask me any questions and I will be there. And I will see you in 6 days for the next gate in Vishnu.